One, two, three, four.
Chant down Babylon kingdom. Team make me chant down Vatican now. Dang bling chant down Babylon kingdom. Team make me chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom. Team make me chant down Vatican now. Dang bling chant down Babylon kingdom. Team make me chant down Vatican now.
What up, y'all? It's Babylon 5 Podcast. It's your boy, Jermaine Event. How are you guys doing? This is episode 146, and I'm calling this bad boy Double Dutch. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing phenomenal. I hope your week has been great. Ooh. This room sounds amazing. Recently moved. We're going to talk about that a little more later in the podcast. But I'm in a new space. If you guys follow me on Instagram, as you should be at this point, you'll see the new backdrop of how I'm recording. It's crazy because I was looking online at the old place and I was looking in the backdrops that look similar to this natural backdrop in my new studio right now. So that's pretty dope for me. So we're going to talk about me and my wife and I actually moving to a new spot. Talk to you guys about how that's going. We're going to talk about that later in episode 146. Before I get into what we're going to talk about, I just wanted to say, if I did not, I don't think I did, but I hope you guys have had a phenomenal week, and I hope this upcoming week is even better, like 10 times better than last week. Even if you were like, dude, that was the best week of my life, I hope next week is even better. I hope you're like, how did that even happen? I didn't think it could get any better. I want you to have that week next week. All right, so what we're going to talk about today in episode 146, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about UFC Vegas 56 and just touch on that a little bit. I didn't see all the fights. I was under the impression that the card started at like 3, and then at like 3 I got a notification on my phone like, it starts now, and I was like, all right, hell yeah, and I went on it, and it was like the main card was starting. I was like, damn, I was at home that whole time. These fights started at noon. I could have been at the crib watching these fights, and I just like didn't know the fights were going on. So we're not going to talk about all those fights. I mean, I don't usually talk about all the fights, as you guys know. So we're gonna touch a little bit on UFC Vegas 56. What the hell was that? Oh, I think that's it's the dishwasher. Pardon me. I thought I turned it off, but that shit just roared on. Sounded like a fucking... It annoys me. Anywho, we're going to talk about that just a little bit. All right, and we're going to talk about my predictions for UFC 276, ladies and gentlemen. Get a pay-per-view coming up next week. We're thirsty for that MMA for this week. We got our fix. You know what I'm saying? Just briefly. I wasn't too excited about that main event. And we're going to talk about that. But we got UFC Vegas 276, headlined by Glover Teixeira versus Yuri Prochazka. A lot of people are counting Glover out in here and saying like he's about to get knocked out on him. We're going to talk about that. We got the GOAT, in my opinion, Valentina Shevchenko, defending her belt versus Taila Santos. That's the co-main event for UFC 276, and you got... Is it UFC 276? I just want to make sure it's UFC 276 before we go any further. Because I thought, like, I was just tweeting about UFC 2... Yeah, it's not UFC 276. It's UFC 275. I'm glad I caught that, because I was tweeting earlier that... UFC 276 is stacked. That's the Adesanya Cannonier card. We're at UFC 275. I'm jumping the gun, ladies and gentlemen. We're not going to talk about UFC 2 UFC 276. We're talking about UFC 275. But I can't wait to talk about UFC 276. As you can see, it's a fucking stacked card. Let me go over that real quick. You got Israel Adesanya defending his belt versus Jared Cannonier. Co-main Alexander Volkanovski in the third matchup, all right, between Volkanovski and Holloway for the belt. That's the co-main event. Then right before that, you got Sean Strickland versus Alex Pereira. Nigga, that's crazy. You got Lauren Murphy versus Misha Tate. That should be an interesting fight. Or boring, who knows. I'm not hating on women fighters, definitely not. I just think their styles are going to call for a lot of clinch work, a lot of control time up against the fence rather than standing and banging. I don't feel like this fight's going to play out that way. You got, this card's crazy though. You got Pedro Munoz versus Sean O'Malley. Sugar Sean O'Malley. We get the Sugar Show at UFC 276. Then you got Uriah Hall versus Andre Muniz. That's interesting. Jessica Ai taking on Macy Barber. That's an interesting fight. Brad Tavares versus Dricus Duplessis. I want to see how Duplessis does. You know, he was recently scheduled to step in and face Gastelum, but that fell through. And he was like, he really wanted that fight, so I'm interested to see how he does here against Tavares. Then you got Robbie Lawler finally returning versus Brian Barberina. Brian Bam Bam Barberina. You know what I'm saying? Like, then you got Jessica Rose Clark taking on Julia Stoliarenko. Brad Riddell versus Jalen Turner. Dude, these are fucking bangers. That card is stacked. All right? That card is stacked. I just had to take a moment to talk about that. But this week, we're going to talk about UFC 275. As I said, headlined by Glover Teixeira versus Yuri Prochazka. Then you got Valentina Shevchenko defending her belt versus Tyler Santos. Then you got a rematch. Zhang Wei Li versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk 2, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think that fight should happen, but it's happening. Then you got Andre Fialho stepping in versus Jake Matthews, it's not short notice. He booked it after he won his last fight. He was like, yeah, I'm coming back right away. So we get some more Fialho action. And then, as I said, we're gonna talk about the move and that whole situation. And then, I might give you a little funny story about something that happened at work the other day. I thought it was pretty funny. So I'll let you guys know about that. And I'll let you know that if you want to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. And you guys can email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You guys can hit that like button if you're listening on Spotify or wherever the fuck you're listening. Yeah, I still didn't submit to all those fucking places. I gotta do it. I need to do it ASAP. It's very important. If you guys are on Twitch, follow your boy at twitch.tv/Babylon5. If you guys, I don't know where I put my, maybe it's in that box. There's a box full of shit over there, actually. But I was like, I don't know where I put my webcam. I know I told you niggas that I was going to stream on Twitch, but since the move, I don't know where I lost some things. I had to go to the store buy more pants. I lost all my pairs of pants, except for my workout clothes. I lost everything but my workout clothes. I don't know where the fuck my shit is. I don't know where it went. I don't know what's going on. But as I'm saying, I don't know. I currently don't know where I put my webcam. When I figure that out, I'll try to get you guys some Twitch streams. I've been whooping ass and then fucking UFC. I was whooping this dude's ass. They put me in a backyard fight. I wasn't trying to do backyard fights. I was trying to just do UFC fights where I could take niggas down and really work my game. But somehow it put me into one of those backyard fights where it was no takedowns. And I was still catching dude. But at the same time, I'm not here for boxing. I'm not here for kickboxing. I signed up for an MMA game, so we'll see what happens with that, because that online shit seemed whack to me. Maybe I'll do a career, live with you niggas, see how I build it up. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. But yeah, follow your boy at twitch.tv/Babylon5. You guys should go ahead and cop some merchandise. Head on over to teespring.com/stores/BOF-pod-shop. And lastly, don't just be my nigga, be my patrons. Head on over to patreon.com/Babylon5pod to be my patrons. In this episode, I don't know if I told you guys, I think I did. This bad boy is called Double Dutch. All right, I'm calling this bad boy Double Dutch. Why am I calling this bad boy Double Dutch? Because at UFC Vegas 56, headlined by Alexander Volkov versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik, it was ended in the first round, all right? And then there's some controversy about if it was an early stoppage, all right? I'm not sure. I don't know if it was an early stoppage. I think it was honestly a decent stoppage. But where the issues come in with Herb Dean, where my issues that I really have with Herb Dean, I used to think he was one of the better refs, but he's, time changes everything. And what Herb Dean does, well, he's very inconsistent. Sometimes he'll stop fights right away. Sometimes he'll let shit go on for too long. But the thing that he won't let you down about is he'll do this fucking double Dutch shit like he's about to jump in there. But then he stops. Then he's about to jump in there. Or he'll touch the fighters and then not stop the fight. If you're going to touch this fighter, he's going to stop doing what he's doing. He's going to change position. But, that's what I'm saying. There's been times where they touch the fighters. The fighter that's in a dominant position stops. But the ref doesn't stop the fight. And then the other person is able to reverse the position and come out winning. And you got Herb Dean consistently coming in here with that fucking double Dutch shit. Like he's ready. He's about to jump in, but he's nervous. He doesn't want to get hit by the ropes. You got Herb Dean consistently coming in here with this indecisive fucking shit. And that's the only reason why it's like, yo, that's an early stoppage. I feel like Jairzinho Rozenstruik isn't, he's got knockout power. But his game is pretty one-dimensional. His defense is just to lean back. His offense is pretty one-dimensional, all right? Are you afraid of the takedown when you're in there against Jairzinho Rozenstruik? Absolutely not. He's just coming forward with hooks. You know that. Only thing that I think would save his job is that he made kind of a name. He's, while he was knocking niggas out on the come up. But now that they know all this nigga's gonna do is just come forward and swing these hooks, he's been losing. So I think it was a good stoppage. And at that point, at that moment, Volkov was lighting this boy up. But see, his mouthpiece, Jairzinho Rozenstruik's mouthpiece got knocked out. And when that flew, that's what started the double Dutch shit with Herb Dean. That's when he started to twitch like he was about to jump in there. He literally was about to stop the fight. He was about to pause the fight to get the mouthpiece. But then he stopped because Volkov is just lighting this boy up on the fence. And then it's I don't know if see, I said it was I thought it was a good stoppage, but as I'm thinking about it right now, yeah, he was putting it on him in that moment, but he didn't knock Rozenstruik out. And you're like, dude, he doesn't have to knock somebody out to end the fight. I know that, but what I'm saying is did I feel like that was a fight-ending sequence? Do I feel like as Rozenstruik slipped out of there, he could have possibly got out of there, clinched up, and potentially held on to another round? We could have saw something else happen. I don't know if that was a fight-ending sequence necessarily. And I've seen people say Volkov was going to put it on him. It was going to be over anyway. And it's sure, we can say that because he won and at the end of that fight, he was in a dominant position. when that fight was stopped. He was putting it on him. What happened about 10 seconds before that? He got caught with a couple hooks. You know what I'm saying? He got caught with a couple hooks. And it looks like he got hit pretty hard. Like, it looked to rock him just a bit. You know what I'm saying? What happened 10 seconds before that fucking stoppage? Jorginho caught him a couple times. So, like, you guys could say, like, oh, it wasn't going to get any better for him. You don't fucking know. That's why we watch this sport. We watch this sport because you don't know what's going to happen. And that's the beauty of it. So, it's crazy for people to say, like, oh, well, wasn't going to get any better for him. How do you know? How do you know? Because that third round, Conor McGregor, Khabib, that third round, that first round, when he was stuffing them takedowns, like initially, it was beautiful. That third round, when he really stuffed them takedowns and was light and was catching Khabib, actually hitting Khabib in stand-up, that shit, that happened, all right? Khabib lost that round on the judges. It's the only round that he's lost. You know? I believe that's the only round that he lost. Except I think, like, maybe a judge gave Gaethje round one because he was lighting him up with these leg kicks. That fight was weird because I remember Gaethje looked like Gaethje would get caught by strikes from Khabib, and he's like, he would have this look on his face like, you're striking too. Like he was surprised that Khabib was striking and not just going for takedowns. It's pretty weird, man. Gaethje's a weird fighter. He's an entertaining fighter nonetheless, but it's weird. I don't know, it's weird. It's weird how we know he has holes in the grappling, but then he is just so confident that he's going to walk through Oliveira, who has the most submissions. Why are you so confident in that? Why are you so confident? You should have some reason to be like, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to give it my all, but not be like, oh, he's a quitter. Nigga, it seems like he's going to submit you. And it was like leading up to the fight, he's like, well, he better hope he gets me down to the ground. It's like, well, you already know where it is right there. You just kind of tipped your hat, all right, to the fact that you know it's over once it gets to the ground. Like, but he was so confident. So confident. Anywho, I think Rosenstrike might get cut. He's just too one-dimensional, man. I don't know if he's UFC level. I think he could be a decent fighter in another promotion. Maybe like bare knuckle shit. I think bare knuckle is like where he could like shine, but not this. We've seen what happened when, like, look at Volkov, right? And then look at Volkov when he fought Cyril Gane. Look at Volkov when he fought Tom Aspinall. These niggas outclassed him. And he goes out there and he finishes Rosenstrike in the first round, man. It's levels to this shit. Volkov is tall as fuck and got crazy length. He's got a reach advantage over pretty much everybody he fights. And he was standing, he's keeping that distance in this fight, fighting at range. So, like, yeah, Drago has those advantages in how tall he is, but as we've seen with people like Aspinall, as we've seen with people like Gane, man, there's levels to these shit. Those guys are phenomenal. I think, as I'm sure I said here, I think Aspinall is probably the best heavyweight right now. I think the only person that might give him problems is John Jones. Because, like, yeah, Francis can wrestle, but I don't think Francis would want to take that man down. He's got great jits. You're not going to want to take that man down. I think he's got he's way slicker jiu-jitsu than Cyril Gane. He will fucking submit Francis Ngannou if he takes him down. I don't think that's where he wants to be, and I think Aspinall would be too fucking fast for Francis in the feet. I think he beats him easily. I don't know what heavyweight John Jones looks like, but I think he's the only person that could really give Aspinall a problem. Mainly because he's really good. His offense is really good at nullifying his opponent's offense and all the shit that they like to do. And then he's got his wrestling. He's usually stronger than everybody he fights. They all that's the thing they're usually surprised about is like he's fucking insanely strong. And he's got his wrestling. So like I think the only person that can really give Aspinall problems is John Jones. I don't see anybody else doing it. But for Volkov, I don't know what happens next here for him. I'm not sure because what he put him in a fucking match? Who does he fight? Does he fight Gon again? Absolutely not. Gon's fighting Tuivasa, which is a terrible fight for Tuivasa. Tuivasa's gonna get that ass beat. Just from pillar to post. It's not like Gon is just gonna go in there and necessarily like knock him out, like starch this man in the first round, but he's gonna put it on him. And Tuivasa's gonna look lost out there. That's what's gonna happen out there. But Volkov, I could see a rematch with Volkov and Derek Lewis. The balls is hot rematch. I feel like that's the only like logical next fight for both people, both competitors. Is Derek Lewis I think has a fight coming up, but I think win or lose, I think he should fight Volkov next if we're going to see anything. UFC Vegas 56 was interesting. I didn't get to see all the fights, as I said. Try to see what I did. I did not see the Ige Mozart fight, but from what I saw I looked at the stats. Mozart dominated Ige. So that's pretty cool. I did see the Lucas Almeida, Mike Trezano fight. Dude, that Lucas Almeida guy is nice. He's got great combination. He looks like me when I'm playing UFC, and I'm not even, like, the way you, because that's what I was saying last week. Like, I'm attacking everywhere. Fucking hook to the head, uppercut to the body. Then I'm attacking that leg. Hitting you everywhere. And that's the shit he was doing. I was like, oh shit, he's got great combinations over there. Shout out to Lucas Almeida, man. He looked great in his UFC debut. He got rocked in the first, and he came back and rocked Trezano in the second, and then finished him in the third. It was great. Look out for Lucas Almeida, man. He looks like a fucking great talent. I saw the Karine Silva fight. She looks great. She got that finish with 5 seconds left in the round. I couldn't believe it. It was great. I also saw the Ode Osborne. Yeah, I saw most. That's what I was saying. I saw most of the main card. I saw all, if not most, of the main card because, as I'm saying, I was at work. I got that notification, and I was down. Sorry. I was alone in my workspace, and I was like, well, shit, I'm going to put these fights on while I'm doing this shit. And that took me up to the Dan Ige fight. So I watched from Alonzo Menafield versus this person, Askar Mazharov, which, from what I heard, when he was originally booked to fight in this fight, his record was 20. It was like 20. It was like 20 something and 7. It was like 24-7. All right. And before the fight happened, his record was changed to 19-12 because apparently this Askar Mazharov guy has repeatedly changed his name throughout the years in order to like fabricate his fight record. So he lost way more fights than he claimed to have lost. But that's what I'm saying. I'm looking at this like a 19-12 fighter. Like, unless he's super impressive at that point, I don't really see him getting signed by the UFC like this. But a 24 or 25-7 fighter, it's like, that's kind of interesting. Let's see what this guy can do. But apparently this guy has just been changing his name throughout the years and lying about his fight record. And they figured it out like the day of the fight. Well, he ends up getting knocked out in the first round. The UFC got catfished, man. It's crazy. It is really crazy. But shout out to Alonzo Menafield for winning that fight in the very first round. Shout out to Ode Osborne. Ode. Shout out to Ode Osborne. I thought it was lame when he did it, but like as I just did it there, it was like, all right, that's cool. It works. It's the Ole, anywho. But, yeah, man, that was a good-ass card. So, that main card, at least from what I saw. Did I see anything in the... I didn't see any of the prelims, but I guess Karolina Kowalkiewicz got a win in the submission. She submitted Felice Herring in the second round. Shout out to Karolina Kowalkiewicz finally getting back in the win column. Joe Selecki wins via decision over Alex da Silva. Coelho. You got Damon Jackson defeating Dan Argueta. Nick Stoles versus Benoit St. Denis. You got Benoit St. Denis won that fight. Submission in the first round. Let's just go through it. I didn't see this. There's way more fights in this prelims. I missed a lot of fights. Damn. You got Tony Gravely getting a TKO victory over Johnny Munoz. I gotta go back and watch that. That's first round knockout. Jeff Molina defeats Zaglas Zumagulov. And Ode Osborne calls out Jeff Molina. And Jeff Molina responds with, Ode can get it. So hopefully that's the next fight. I wanted to see that Jeff Molina fight, but I was not fast enough on the draw. This guy, Renat Fakhretdinov, beat Andreas Michailidis. I want to check that fight out. I want to watch all these fights. Maybe on Thursday I'll watch these fights. And as I said, Aaron Blanchfield defeats J.J. Aldrich via second round submission. So shout out to Aaron Blanchfield, man. I was like, I think she's underrated, blah, blah. Then I looked at the odds, and she was like the heavy favorite. It's like, nigga, you're not saying anything new. She's the heavy favorite here. Like, yeah, she's much better than J.J. Aldrich, and everybody sees it. So I was like, dude, I'm going to talk about this and really say the things that people don't want to say. But shout out to Aaron Blanchfield, man. So you got UFC Vegas 275 coming up. Headlined by Glover Teixeira versus Yuri Prochazka, man. I've seen a lot of people say that Yuri is just gonna knock out Glover Teixeira, man. Maybe Glover will get rocked. I feel like there's a good chance Glover gets a little rocked in there, but I think we've seen time and time again Glover get rocked. Glover come back and win the fight. This is the worst thing that could happen for Yuri. He fucking lands a clean shot on Glover. Glover falls and he rushes to that fucking ground. He rushes to the ground and try to finish Glover, and boom, he's in Glover's world. Glover's not as rocked as you thought it was. He's doing that Charles Oliveira shit. It's funny, man. Because Dustin Poirier just did an interview. I saw a clip of it. And when I saw Adesanya watching, because he'll post him watching the fights. And when Charles, like when you're watching the fights against Dustin and you're watching the fights against Gaethje, he'll get hit and then he'll like fall down to the ground. And when I watched Adesanya watch him versus Gaethje, and Gaethje knocked him down, he was like, he's not hurt. He's faking it. And that was the first time I was like, what? He's faking it? I didn't even pick up on that shit, right? And Dustin Poirier just did an interview, and he was like, I thought I hurt him, and I just like miscalculated how hurt he actually was. So I went down there into his guard. So, so he's saying in hindsight, like after being in there with him, like, fuck, I thought he was hurt, and I rushed in there. And it was like, you're in Oliveira's world. And now I'm seeing it like, fuck. Now people are starting to talk about it too. Ever since I saw Adesanya say that, people are like, maybe he's faking being hurt just to like try to get people to come into his guard, try to get people to play the ground game with him. It's like, dude, he's definitely doing that. What I'm saying is that same thing could happen here with Glover and Yuri, and I think there's a good chance that Glover walks away the champion here. It'd be cool if we got this young new champion, Yuri Prochazka. But as I've said, I did not like what I saw from Yuri Prochazka when he was taken to the ground by Dominic Reyes. I did not like that. And if fucking Glover gets that dude to the ground, it's fucking over, is how I feel. So my pick, I'm going with the old man Glover Teixeira to finish and still your UFC light heavyweight champion. It's Glover Teixeira. I got Glover beating Yuri Prochazka in this one. Can't wait for the embedded. Maybe something magical will happen in the embedded, and I'm like, whoa, shit, I'm flipping to Yuri, but I doubt it. I think the ground is the groundwork, because even Yuri addressed, like, he's done nothing but train the ground. Well, he's definitely trained striking, but he's put emphasis on the ground because, one, that's been a hole for him this whole time. This entire time, that ground was the problem for him. And up against somebody like Glover, man, I don't know, like, through his fucking lifetime of experience, I don't know if he could train enough right now to defeat Glover, but we'll see. Well, if it goes to the ground. I don't know if he has enough to defeat Glover if it goes to the ground right now, but if it stays standing, man, he could knock Glover out, but I'm going with Glover Teixeira. Then you got the GOAT. You got the fucking GOAT. Valentina Shevchenko defending her belt versus Taila Santos. I'm going with Valentina. I mean, obviously, as I said, she's the GOAT. Taila is the bigger fighter here. She's 5'5". She's got an inch on her, but she's got a 1.5 reach advantage. 1.5 inch reach advantage on Valentina. You know, as I'm looking at this, I'm feeling like I don't know much about Taila Santos. She defeated Joanne Wood, formerly Joanne Calderwood, via some first-round submission back in November. She defeated, I think I remember this fight. She beat Roxanne Modafferi via decision in September 2021. I was like, who are the bodies here? I don't know, man. These divisions are fucking light, man. It's fucking thin out here. You're telling me this shit is thin. Fuck, it's thin. This is crazy. Her one loss is to Mara Romero Barella. Isn't she, like, out of the UFC now? Yeah, I'm pretty sure she got cut. That's her one loss, Taila Santos. But at the same time, her one loss, nigga, I don't know, man. The UFC it's not that deep, bruh. This women's flyweight division, let's go into it, man. Let's go to 2019. She loses in February 2019 to this Mara Romero Barella. All right, she loses. Then in 2020, she defeats Molly Meatball McCann via decision in July of 2020. Then she defeats this method of victory. I don't know. I gotta go back. I gotta go back and watch this fight. But she defeats Jillian Robertson via decision. All right, in 2020. I feel like you should be finishing. I feel like you should be finishing Jillian Robinson if you feel like you're gonna defeat Valentina Shevchenko. All right, but let's go to last year. As I said, she defeats Roxanne Modafferi by decision, and she submitted Calderwood back in November, and now she's fighting Valentina Shevchenko. I don't know. I mean, I don't know who I would be able to see her fight necessarily that would tell me she's ready to fight Valentina. I don't feel like too many people are on Valentina's level. But I don't know. From what I'm seeing so far, just looking at the tail of the tape and her opponents, man, I don't know if this is going to go too well. I think this is going to be potentially eye-opening. This is going to be like the fight that really shows her where she needs to be. So I'm definitely sticking with Valentina Shevchenko. Says, I don't know, Tyler Santos is saying that Valentina has flaws in her striking. Yeah, we'll see. Then you got the rematch of Zhang Weili versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I don't think this fight should happen. As I said when it was announced, Joanna was real racist with her tweets. Like, right as like, this is when people were in denial that coronavirus was here in America. And I was saying, like, nigga, if it's an airborne disease that they know about over there and we're not testing it over here, clearly it's already here because it's fucking airborne. They ain't shut down fucking airports and shit like that. And nobody knew it was going on and like at first. So clearly it's everywhere is how I was feeling. And sure enough, I was right. But Joanna posted the picture. It was a picture somebody made of her versus Zhang, but Joanna's wearing a gas mask. Because at the time, it's just like, it was only reported to be happening in Wuhan, China at that point. Damn, that shit's crazy. At the time, it was only reported to be happening, like there was only coronavirus in Wuhan at the time. And that's where Zhang was coming from. So Joanna posted a picture of her wearing a gas mask versus Zhang Weili. Like, that shit doesn't need to be explained. So I didn't feel like she should have even let this second fight happen. Like, fuck her. Fuck her. So I'm definitely rolling with Zhang to get this victory again. I hope she takes her down, ground and pounds her, and gets the finish. That's what I'd like to see. Then, as I said, you got my boy Andre Fialho taking on Jake Matthews, and I'm rolling with Fialho, man. I think he's really finding his groove right now, and yeah, I think he gets the job done against Jake Matthews. So that's gonna be an interesting card. I'll get to watch I'll get to watch most of the card actually next week. My schedule's changing. I'm in a new position, pretty much at work. I'll touch on that in a little bit. But because of that, I'll not be working all night on Saturdays, and I can watch some UFC live. So, yay me. As I said, we just moved, and if you guys are on the Instagram, you'll see this cool new background. You guys should be following me on Instagram. You know what I found? What I realized, what I noticed with my fucking Instagram videos? Like, I record this shit in the cinema mode, and it makes everything that's not the focus blurry in the background. But when I upload it to the computer, none of that shit is there. It's just a regular ass video. I don't know why I keep recording it this way. Because it's just a regular ass video when I see it. There's no blur in the background. But I see it right now with the blur. But whenever I post it up there and I put it into like on the Mac, all of a sudden all that shit is gone. I don't know why. But as I'm saying, we moved. My wife and I, we've moved to the east side. You know what I'm saying? We're back to the east side, the cool part of town. Over here, out here, you know, we're on the cool part of town, if you will. It's weird. I'm getting older. When I was younger, I felt like there was less riffraff just on the street in general. But as we're moving in, there's this young man who's walking down the street. I see him with like a cup, an icy cup from like a gas station, and then and also in his hand he has like half a bottle of Bacardi Limon. He's walking up the street, and then like 5 minutes later, like me and my wife's dad we were just like by the apartment. We were like doing the move or whatever, waiting for the trucks to. We were just outside, and then here's that same guy walking the other direction, but on the other side of the street where we are. But now he's got 2 bottles of Bacardi Limon, one full, one half, and his icy cup. And so as we're moving things into the apartment, upstairs coming down, I'm seeing this dude walk up and down the street with less and less alcohol each time. That nigga was out there all fucking day. Sometimes I'd see him with groups of people, but most of the time he was just alone, walking up and down the street. I had these fucking dumbbells. This nigga is like, I'm holding them all in one hand, like with one arm, and just like holding them. And he's like, he walks by, his nigga joint, he's like, you can't lift that. You can't lift that. And it's like, nigga, I got them both. With one arm right now. Like, what are we talking about? This man was faded, but, you know, we did it the bougie way. I'd advise everybody to try to move out the bougie way if you can, and that's hiring niggas to take all the boxes and furniture out of your crib and load that shit in a van, and then coming to the new place and unloading that shit, because that's fucking... I mean, that took a lot of stress off of us. As I'm saying, I'm getting older. I was like, yo, I thought I was like coming down with some kind of disease or some shit, because I was so tired after these moves. And my wife was saying the same thing. Like, she was exhausted. She thought she was like dying. Like, we were both like fucking separately we're more tired than we've probably ever been in our adult lives, and it's just like, what the fuck? Like, I'm exhausted after this move. And we didn't have to do all that shit. Like, most of the fucking carrying of the shit, we only did like maybe like a quarter of it is that we did ourselves. The rest we paid niggas to do. So that shit was smooth. Except for when my wife got stuck in the elevator at our old place. Like, that shit was kind of terrifying. We were just moving some shit down, and then me and my wife was on the elevator. I told y'all niggas I don't really use the elevator because I heard niggas get stuck on the elevator. But it just said the elevator kept saying in use, and then my wife was on it. So I'm like, yo, like Sarah, and I text her. She didn't have her phone with her, but then she like I hear the alarm, and I like yell out to her, and she yells out back, and then I run downstairs to the main floor because I knew she was on the first floor, because I could hear the door opening before we were taking like shit out. And I run downstairs and I can hear it clearly, and she's like, yeah, it's not opening, I don't know what to do. So I just open that shit. Like, I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen, but I'm just gonna fucking pull this shit open if I can. And then when I pull the shit open and the doors, like, I could open the first part of the door, and I tried to pull open the other part, and then I was thinking in my head, like, fuck, what if this shit just started moving? So then I, like, let it go. And when it closed, it started fucking moving. Like, And then more niggas got fucking stuck as we were doing this, as the day were going. They sent out a fucking email like, hey, don't use the elevator, but niggas ain't read that shit. So niggas just kept getting stuck on the elevator. Niggas had to just keep pulling it open, and then when it closed, the shit just fucking started moving again. But niggas kept getting stuck on the elevator, man. That shit is pretty fucking weird, man. If y'all are renting from New Land, watch out for them niggas, because they don't even care, man. That building was pretty sketch. Niggas were known to get stuck in the elevator, and they didn't do shit about it. Nothing at all. They sent us an email after I moved out of the building saying that they fixed the elevator. It's like, that's not the first time y'all sent an email saying y'all fixed that elevator. And yet the nigga y'all had here fixing the elevator a while ago told me he doesn't get on the elevator. Says if we got to do something in here, I take the stairs, and I'll meet you guys up there if y'all want to take the stairs. If y'all want to take the elevator. He works on that shit, and he don't take it. So what the fuck does that tell you? There's no way I was going to do that. So the way that shit worked, right? We had to be out of our apartment on the 31st by 11 a.m. Nigga, I paid this whole month, but we had to be out. Then the new place, we couldn't get into that place until 2 p.m. We couldn't get our keys until 2 p.m. on the 1st. And it's like, nigga, I already paid rent. All right, give me them keys, is how I felt, but that's not how it worked. So yeah, I got an Airbnb right downtown here with a building that's owned by New Land, but like it was through Airbnb, and the host was called like Front Desk. Yeah, I'm airing y'all out, and it was in the Rhythm Building, man. Front Desk is the host. And it was not one of the cheaper buildings, is what I'm saying. But we get there. I did not ask for early check-in, mind you. Did not ask for early check-in. They text me 2 hours, a little bit more than 2 hours early, saying that the apartment is cleaned and ready for check-in now, right? And I'm like, oh shit, they just said we couldn't check in we couldn't get to the Airbnb until 3. It's not even 1 o'clock. They just hit me up saying it's clean and ready to go. So we go to the Airbnb, and right away I'm like, yo, this shit is gross. Niggas ain't clean the Airbnb. It's like food and coffee grounds all in the sink. It's like, nigga, it look like cum all over the couch, nigga, all over the pillows, nigga, all over the fucking seat cushions and shit, white shit. It's a leather couch, nigga. It looks like cum all over this couch. I'm wearing shoes walking around. It's like sticky in certain spots of this floor, nigga. Nigga, this shit was gross. And I hit niggas up like, yo, this shit is filthy. Niggas was like, oh, my bad. You want us to send somebody to clean your fucking room? Nigga, why did you hit me up over 2 hours early to say the room was clean? And then and I get there and I ain't clean this shit at all, man. This shit was filthy. Like, nah, fam. So niggas got a partial refund, if you will. I was tweeting about the shit, if you niggas follow niggas on Twitter, and then Airbnb hit me up. Like, oh shit, let me hear about these niggas. And I sent all these niggas the pictures of this shit. And the first niggas, they gave me it's about $60 they gave me back out of the $200 total that I spent for just the one night, which is cause we stayed there, nigga. I didn't stay on the fucking cum couches, but nigga could have been cum everywhere, all over that place. I don't know. That's the risk you take everywhere. You go to a hotel, it could be cum everywhere. Come all over these fucking pillows. All right, that's what I assume. My wife was like, yo, you're notorious for laying on top of bed sheets. Like if we go to a hotel or some shit like that, I'm like, I ain't getting in that bed. It could be all kinds of shit in there. I ain't getting in there. I'll keep pants, a hoodie. I think I'll be like damn near fully clothed, sleeping on top of the sheets if we go on vacation. That's how a nigga. I don't fuck with none of these niggas like that. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, that's how I am. But this shit on the outside was filthy. So I would never book with front desk if I were you guys. Them niggas do not care. Front desk, if y'all booking from Airbnb in Milwaukee, do not book any of the front desk rooms. Because as I'm saying, the niggas hit me up over 2 hours early for no reason. I ain't asked for it. To say the room was clean. And the shit was filthy, bruh. It was like paint chipping down into the fucking shower from the fucking on the wall in the shower. Anywho, the building. It's like if you go into that building, it's like damn, this shit looks super nice. They got like on the ground floor, they got this cool ass lobby with like foosball tables, like a kitchen, a full kitchen and shit. Niggas just lounging. Looks cool. But I get into the unit and I'm like, dude, this is pretty shitty. And they're all called like either like micro units or whatever. And it's just like you're gonna get a small ass apartment for a lot of money. There's overpriced. Like if you actually lived in that building, it's like $1,400 for that little ass. It's like 2 rooms, or it's 3 rooms. It's the room you walk in, which is just like the living room, kitchen area, the bathroom, bedroom. That's all the rooms you get in for like $1,400. That's almost as much as we're paying for this 2-bedroom here. Like it's cheaper to live here in this 2-bedroom than that little ass fucking apartment, little studio basically. Damn near a studio. But I don't know. So yeah, just never that shit was weird. I never booked through front desk. And the funny work story, man, nigga. I don't know if I really talk about what a nigga does for work. I did. I think I mentioned it here. I'm manager at a grocery store. But I'm in a position right now where I'm like general, just like manager of like the store. I know focused department, but now I'm moving into running my own department. So we're training this newer guy to pretty much take over for me as shutting down the store, and that's why I'll be able to see UFC now, like as it's happening, and tweet live and watch more fights. Is because I'm switching positions that doesn't require for me to be there. Like his position, he's in charge of the whole, like all the areas of the store. That's what I do now. But now I'm moving into just a department. I'm just going to run my own department, which is pretty dope. Pay increase, no employees at the moment. Write my own schedule. It's pretty nice. We'll see what happens if there's some stacked ass card that I want to get to. You know what I'm saying? I write my own schedule. We'll see what happens. But so we're training this nigga, and there's one thing I was saying to my wife since I've started doing this job. Since I'm like, I don't necessarily right now like to be in charge of people. It kind of makes me uncomfortable. Just work. Just do your thing. I don't need to talk to you. But I don't necessarily want to be your boss and have to like keep checking in on you and try to get you to do these shit. It's just like, nigga, we're at work. I know I'm supposed to be working, so I work. So I know you know you're supposed to be working and you're not. So why do I need to say something to you? If anything, you should just get the fuck out of here, is how I would approach the situation. But my boss tells me, hey, that's not the way we want to do things here. You can't just fire everybody. You gotta try to like nudge him in the right direction. But I'm just like, nah, fuck that nigga. We gonna fire that nigga. he ain't stocked them fucking groceries. All right? That's how I feel. But my boss is telling me no. My boss is telling me not to be that way. Anywho, so we training this new guy, Mason, to take over and close the store. But I've been telling him, like, since he was pretty much going over, and he was telling me he prefers to close. And I was like, oh, man, please, you should have been coming for this position a long time ago, man. Like, we could have had you close. Like, fuck. That would have been a lot of stress off my back. And he was like, what are you talking about? I like closing. I was like, you like closing, bro? Like, I fucking hate closing. When I'm there in the morning with my job as just like a general manager, I'm bouncing around this area, helping out there, doing that. I'm busy all day. So, like, I don't know. It's just, and everybody that works earlier in the day are usually older and just harder workers. And that later crowd are a lot younger. And I'd say about 90% of them don't give a fuck. All right? They don't give a fuck. And here's the catch, right? Here's the catch. Some little thing, and I was explaining this to Mason after the situation. It's like, if this nigga is supposed to shut down the produce department, all right, but he ain't doing shit all day, and I'm seeing him not do shit, then I should send that nigga home before this gets any more ridiculous, right? I should send that nigga home. But, all right, if I send that nigga home, then either we don't have somebody to shut down that department, or nigga, I gotta shut down that department. That's the dilemma. And it's like, he's going to shut it down because I'm not gonna let him leave unless he at least fucking shut that shit down. Or you can get the fuck out of here. Because that's how your boy manages. Either do your job right now or you're fucking fired. It's a one-strike rule, nigga. Why do I have to give you all these fucking chances? You're at work. You're at fucking work. Anywho. This is how I've become as a manager. I never wanted to be anybody's boss, but like, as you put me in charge of these children, and I feel like I'm babysitting half the time, you know, or most of the time I feel like I'm babysitting. And as you put me in charge, it's like, nigga, I'm at work. I know I need to work, so you know you need to work. Nigga, do it. Do it. I ain't gotta. Here we go. So there's this kid who Mason had been telling me that this kid was very upfront to him that he just doesn't do shit all day. And I didn't know that at first. I was like, damn, he at least has been looking busy. Because I haven't been on his case. I thought he was, like, actually doing some work. But apparently that's not the case. And with my boy, Mason, that dude was, like, just slacking off doing nothing all day the other night. And before we get in here, what I did not say was when I started doing this job, I told my wife, I know I have this authority where I can, if niggas ain't working, I can be like, yo, punch out and go home. All right, I have that authority. As they say, but I said to my wife, like, what if I do that and a nigga says no? All right, then at that point, I'm just like, okay. But I'm be heated inside. There's nothing I can do if the nigga says, if he actually just refuses to punch out, what do I do? Is what I was thinking. And now I found the solution to that. But there's definitely a solution to that, which I was like, damn, that shit sounds kind of illegal. But there's a solution to that. And that's what I was worried about. So Mason was saying that, you know, this guy who has been upfront that he doesn't do shit all day was just not doing shit all day. And he approached him like real casually, like, hey man, are you ready to shut down your department? And the guy just started giving this man sass. Like, what, you're a manager, you can go check on it. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. And then Mason comes to me like, yo, bro, I think I want to send dude home. And I'm like, bro, you're the manager. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's a manager right now. So I'm like, bro, if you're a manager, go ahead if you want to do that. And he was like, he told him like, yo, punch out and go home. Dude's like, what? He's It's like, punch out and go home. Yo, you're done. And he's like, all right, and walks off. So I walk off to go do something else. I had to go, like, write an email or some shit. And then Mason finds me, and he's like, yo, we got a situation. I'm like, what's happening now? And he's like, you know how I told him to go punch out and go home? Well, he said no. And he's looking for me, my black ass, to try to, like, let him stay at work. And I'm just like, I don't override this nigga. Like, just because I've worked here or I've been a manager longer than this guy doesn't mean that I override this nigga. We're on the same level. Like, I was like, that's fucking weird. Like, I'm not gonna override your shit. And plus, he talked to me before he told the nigga to go home anyway. I was fully aware of the situation. But I just thought that was hilarious that the nigga was like, I mean, there's more to it. We don't need to get into that nigga's life. But I was like, fuck, that was the one thing I was worried about. I'm going to try to send one of these niggas home. And they're going to be like, no. And sure enough, first time this nigga tried to send somebody home, he was like, no. And that's what I said to Mason, too. I was like, see, he came to find me because once again, I was saying to my wife, like, I hate, like, trying to be in charge of people because in here in Wisconsin, I'm naturally the cool black manager. Like, and that's not who I'm trying to be, nigga. You do your job. I'm not that guy. For real. I'm trying to be strict to niggas. I mean, I'm not even trying to be strict. As I'm saying, I don't want to be fucking in charge of anybody because why the fuck do I need to tell you to do work at work, nigga? At that point, you need to get the fuck out of here. And we gonna hire somebody that knows they're fucking at work, nigga. That's where I'm at. But that's what I thought was pretty fucking hilarious. And I feel like if you guys would like to, you guys could follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter at Babylon5Pod. If you guys would like to email this podcast, it's at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You guys can hit that like button anywhere you're listening to this podcast. I'll try hard to put it everywhere that I can. If you guys, I'm going to put it everywhere that I can. If you guys are on Twitch, go ahead and follow your boy at twitch.tv/Babylon5. If you guys want to cop some merchandise, head on over to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. And lastly, don't just be my niezi, be my patrons. Head on over to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod. And this has been episode 146, ladies and gentlemen, Double Dutch. Thank you so much for being here another week. If you have been, thank you for rocking with me. Sorry about the Facebook fall off. Hopefully that doesn't affect my numbers too much, but that's why I got to make sure to get this everywhere else that I can so we can keep growing, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. As I said, hope you guys are taking care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you when I see you. I'll holla.
Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang, chant down Babylon kingdom.